Have you ever felt like you're just using AI as this superpowered search engine?
Oh, yeah. Constantly.
Right. You know the routine.
Hmm.
You ask it a question, it spits back an answer, and then well, you have to take that answer and go do all the actual work
Yeah,
yourself.
you're still the one doing the heavy lifting.
Exactly. And if you are sitting there nodding right now, you are definitely not alone. But today, we're taking a look at how the frontier of business is moving way, way beyond that simple back and forth.
It really is. It's a massive shift.
It is. And we got our hands on some truly fascinating new research by Dr. Jonathan H. Westover. It's a paper titled The Diffusion of Agentic AI from Engineers to the Enterprise.
Which is a great title, by the way.
Right. And it totally flips the script on how we use these tools at work.
Mm.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how the workplace is fundamentally transforming from just talking to AI to actually like delegating complex multi-step tasks to it.
And that word delegating is key there.
Yeah, we're going to break down what that means for your own career and your daily workflow as a listener.
Because the most crucial part of this transition is that we aren't just looking at tech companies or hardcore software developers anymore.
Not at all.
Right. The premise of Westover's research is observing how this completely new way of working is spreading like wildfire through non-technical departments.
Like everywhere.
Everywhere. We are talking about legal teams, finance departments, HR, recruiting.
Wow, HR and recruiting.
Yeah. The transition we're going to discuss today isn't just about downloading a new app or, using a tool more often. It's about a fundamental structural change in how organizations operate from the ground up.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because before we can understand how this tech is spreading through, say, an HR department, we have to define what it actually is.
Right. Definitions matter here.
They do. We need to draw a hard line between what Westover calls conversational AI and agentic AI.
Yes.
Because they sound similar. But they are absolutely not the same thing, are they?
Not even close. I mean, they represent two completely different modes of how humans and computers collaborate.
How so?
Well, conversational AI, which is what most people are familiar with right now, is synchronous and advisory.
Synchronous meaning?
Meaning you and the computer are tied together in real time. You type a prompt, you wait, it answers. You are the one in the driver's seat the entire time.
So I'm still managing the process.
Exactly. If you ask it to summarize a long PDF, it generates that summary, but then you have to evaluate that text, copy it, paste it into an email, and decide who to send it to.
Right.
The system is just advising you. You are the one executing the workflow.
I love that. So it's basically like asking a chef for a recipe.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like you get the instructions, which is super helpful,
Yeah.
but you still have to drive to the grocery store, chop the onions, and stand over the hot stove yourself.
Yes, exactly. You're doing the work.
But agentic AI sounds like something entirely different. It
Yeah.
sounds more like hiring a personal chef.
Precisely.
Like you just say, I want a 5-course Italian dinner ready
Yeah.
for 6 people by 7 p.m. And then you literally walk away.
You just leave the kitchen.
Right. The chef goes to the store, buys the ingredients, does all the cooking, plates the food, and you just show up to eat.
What's fascinating here is how perfectly that captures the shift. Agentic AI is asynchronous and executable.
Asynchronous. So uncoupled from my time.
Exactly. You don't have to sit there watching it work. You assign a high-level goal, and the system autonomously performs a multi-step workflow in the background over hours or, even days.
Over days. Wow.
Yeah. It isn't just generating text. A true agentic system might be opening files, writing its own code to analyze data, calling external software tools,
Modifying spreadsheets and stuff?
modifying spreadsheets, coordinating across different databases, all while you are off in a meeting doing something else entirely.
That is wild.
You initiate the work and then you return much later to review the finished product.
Which means adopting this isn't just about working faster. You actually have to change how you do your job.
Totally.
You're restructuring your day around delegation instead of direct execution.
And the sheer velocity of this shift is staggering when you look at the data.
I bet.
Westover cites a 2026 study by Johnston et al., which analyzed large-scale usage data from an agentic platform. They found that weekly active usage of agentic AI grew 5-fold in just the first 6 months of 2026.
Wait. 5-fold In 6 months.
Yeah, 5 times.
That is a massive spike for an entirely new way of working.
It is, but the distribution of that growth is what's really wild. If you look at individual users globally, just everyday people, less than 1% had used Agentic tools in a recent 28-day window.
Okay, so barely anyone on an individual level.
Right. But if you shift your focus to organizational users in enterprise settings, that number jumps to 17%.
Oh, wow. That's a big jump.
And here is the truly staggering statistic. At what the paper calls frontier organizations, the companies at the absolute cutting edge of AI integration, agentic AI, has nearly entirely replaced conversational AI.
You're kidding.
No. In those environments, it accounts for over 99% of all AI-generated output.
Over 99%.
99%.
So at the frontier, they've basically stopped asking the AI for recipes entirely and have completely handed over the keys to the kitchen.
Exactly. Because once the barriers to adoption are removed, these agentic capabilities become strongly preferred. I mean, why do the grunt work if you don't have to?
Right point.
But getting to that point requires solving a massive organizational puzzle, which brings us to the question of who is actually leading this charge inside these companies.
Right, and this leads us to what I'm calling the adoption paradox.
Ooh, I like that.
Because if agentic AI requires this incredibly complex multi-step execution, where the AI is like writing code and integrating with external APIs and databases,
Yeah,
you would logically assume only hardcore software engineers are using it.
right. That would make sense.
But the data reveals a massive counterintuitive surprise.
It really does. The most rapid expansion is actually occurring among non-developer users.
Wait, I have to push back on this.
Go for it.
That makes zero sense on the surface. If setting this up requires coding-level logic and complex tool integration, shouldn't the engineers be the fastest adopters?
You'd think so.
Why on earth are HR teams and legal departments suddenly overtaking the software developers?
It all comes down to who bears the cost of experimentation.
The cost of experimentation.
Yeah. The data shows that the engineers did adopt it first. But their adoption curve was incredibly slow and gradual. It took them months of painful trial and error to get it working right.
Ah, okay.
Later, adopting non-technical functions like recruiting and legal transitioned incredibly rapidly by comparison. They went from 0 to majority usage in mere weeks.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Legal teams don't usually move faster than tech teams on software rollouts. I mean, they are notoriously cautious.
Right, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at how organizational knowledge transfer actually works. The friction of agentic AI adoption isn't about an individual learning a software interface. The friction is organizational.
Yeah.
The tech teams acted as the guinea pigs for the entire company.
Oh, I see where this is going.
They spent months building the hidden technical infrastructure. They figured out the API integration so the AI could talk to the company servers. They built the security protocols so the AI wouldn't accidentally delete the database.
Which is pretty important.
Very important. And they also established the initial governance frameworks and verification standards.
Ah, I see. So the tech team spent 6 months in the jungle with machetes clearing a path and paving a road.
Yes.
And then HR and legal just drove a sports car right over it.
That's a great way to look at it. The paper highlights a brilliant case study on Microsoft's rollout of Copilot.
Oh, what did they do?
Microsoft deliberately deployed it to their internal technical teams first. Those engineers spent a long time finding the bugs, figuring out the deep integration challenges, building best practices.
Basically taking all the hits.
Exactly. By the time Microsoft rolled it out to the less technical, non-engineering functions, the infrastructure was rock solid. The later adopters skipped the painful experimentation phase entirely.
Because the knowledge wasn't siloed, the whole organization leveled up exponentially faster.
Precisely.
That makes total sense. But it also leads us right into a massive trap.
Oh, yes, it does.
Because if non-tech teams are adopting this rapidly and they get to skip all the painful setup, you'd assume we are seeing just pure, unadulterated productivity gains, right? Like everyone is suddenly doing their job at light speed.
Well, on an individual level, you do see massive output increases.
Okay.
At those frontier organizations we mentioned earlier, median workers increase their AI-generated output by 10 to 50 times in just a 7-month period.
10 to 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legal professionals saw a 13-fold increase in their output. Research roles saw more than 50-fold growth.
50 times the output. That is not just typing faster. That is an unimaginably different volume of work.
It substantially exceeds anything you could achieve just by having a faster search engine or looking up information quicker.
Right.
And this is a massive but there's a productivity illusion happening here.
Productivity illusion.
Yeah. Research by DeMario et al. In 2026 found that even when AI dramatically accelerates these individual tasks, the final output of the entire organization might increase way, way less than expected.
Why? Walk me through that. If I'm doing 50 times more research or drafting 13 times more contracts, shouldn't the company be moving 13 to 50 times faster?
Because you hit a human bottleneck. The paper points out that downstream human activities, things like reviewing, coordinating, integrating, actual decision-making.
The human stuff.
Right. Those do not scale at the same speed as AI generation. Imagine your agentic AI generates 50 fully drafted, customized contracts in an hour.
That sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
But a human lawyer still has to read, verify, and approve every single one of those clauses before they can be signed.
Well,
You end up with a massive pileup of AI-completed tasks just sitting on a desk waiting for human rubber stamp.
okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because basically, plugging agentic AI into an old workflow is like putting a rocket engine on a wooden bicycle.
Yes.
Like the engine works perfectly. It's generating all this incredible thrust. But the bicycle itself is just going to rattle apart.
Exactly.
The brakes don't work at that speed. The wooden frame can't handle the torque. You can't just strap the engine on. You have to build a whole new vehicle around the engine.
Realizing actual value depends entirely on workflow redesign, not just technology insertion.
Okay.
You have to move away from sequential tasks where one thing happens after another in a straight line and move toward parallel execution.
Meaning?
Meaning the AI is running multiple processes at once while humans handle a totally different layer of the work.
So if the wooden bicycle is falling apart, what does the new vehicle look like? If I'm running a company, how do I actually restructure my team to handle this volume without burning out my human reviewers?
The paper points to a case study on Klarna, the financial services company, which illustrates this beautifully.
Okay.
They didn't just give their customer service reps an AI tool and say, hey, use this to type faster.
Right.
They fundamentally redesigned their entire workflow around delegation. They restructured their case routing, totally changed their escalation procedures, built new response verification methods.
A complete overhaul.
Complete overhaul. They built a new system where the AI handles the routine, multi-step inquiries entirely on its own, but with a workflow designed to ensure that complex, nuanced cases get instantly routed to specialized humans.
Oh, I see.
Because of that structural workflow redesign, the AI now handles 2/3 of all their customer service chats, and the humans aren't drowning in review work.
Okay, but if we redesign workflows so AI does all the multi-step execution, and it's suddenly handling 2/3 of the work, I have to ask this on behalf of you, the listener, putting yourself in this scenario.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
It is. If the AI can do the deep research, draft the complex contract, send the emails, what exactly is my job? Am I just going to become a middle manager for bots? Are human workers becoming obsolete?
That is the existential fear everyone has, isn't it?
Definitely.
But Westover's paper points to a phenomenon he calls the revenge of the expert.
The revenge of the expert. Okay, tell me more.
The locus of human contribution isn't disappearing, it is shifting. It's moving away from direct execution, the actual writing of the code or the manual typing of the document, and moving toward higher order activities.
Right, so the AI does the fast part, but the human does the
Right.
higher order activities, meaning what exactly in practice?
Meaning defining the overarching objectives, selecting the appropriate tools for the AI to use, evaluating the final output for strategic alignment,
Okay.
and exception handling. Stepping in when the AI encounters an edge case it can't solve. And counterintuitively, the shift means your deep domain expertise becomes more valuable, not less.
I'm going to need you to explain the underlying logic there.
Sure.
Because if the AI is doing all the expert-level task execution, why do I personally still need to be an expert? Can't I just be a generalist who tells the AI what to do?
Think about the mechanics of how this works. When a simple conversational AI gives you a bad draft of an email, it's pretty easy to spot.
Yeah, you read it, it sounds weird, you fix it.
Exactly. But when Agentic AI executes a complex 10-step workflow asynchronously over 2 days, You need a true expert to recognize subtle systemic errors.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You have to be able to validate intermediate steps and integrate highly complex results. If you don't actually understand the deep mechanics of your field, whether that's corporate law or structural engineering, you won't know if the AI took a fundamentally flawed approach in step 2 of a 10-step autonomous process.
Uh,
The error will be completely invisible to a novice.
but if I'm not an expert, I'm just blindly trusting a black box.
Yes.
And when it messes up step 2, I won't even realize it until the whole project collapses at step 10.
And by then, the damage is done. Which brings up a fascinating look at what Deloitte is doing right now. Okay.
If you want to see the fear of lost expertise in action, look at their strategy. They are deliberately keeping their junior consultants doing core analytical tasks manually, alongside the AI tools.
Wait, they are forcing their juniors to do things the slow way.
Yep.
I'm just picturing some poor junior analyst sweating over manual spreadsheets at 2 a.m. while staring longingly at an AI bot that could finish it in 3 seconds. Why would Deloitte do that?
Because they realize that if juniors don't learn how to do the actual work, if their entire career is just becoming an AI prompter, they will never develop the deep, intuitive domain expertise required to become senior consultants.
Wow.
And you desperately need senior consultants to supervise the advanced AI later. You simply cannot supervise a complex AI workflow if you never learn the underlying mechanics of the job yourself.
That is a wild realization. They are intentionally protecting the grunt work in order to protect the pipeline of future expertise.
Exactly. And the labor market data actually backs up that intuition perfectly.
Does it? Yeah. The paper cites Chen et al. 2026, which analyzed large data sets of job postings. They found that jobs built purely for automation, meaning the role is just about replacing a human executing a basic task, are seeing declining demand.
Makes sense.
But jobs built for augmentation, where the role is redesigned for human-AI collaboration, strategic thinking, and complex verification, are seeing rising demand and higher skill requirements across the board.
Okay, so the humans aren't going away. They're leveling up into verifiers and coordinators.
Yes.
But managing a team of human expert AI agent hybrids has to introduce terrifying new risks that a standard conversational chatbot never had.
This raises an important question. How do we govern a system that is evolving faster than our traditional corporate rulebooks?
Right.
Because unleashing agentic AI changes the risk profile of an organization entirely.
Right, because my conversational chatbot isn't doing anything while I sleep. It just sits there waiting for a prompt. But my agentic AI, I could assign it a complex goal on Friday at 5 p.m., log off, and it works all weekend, manipulating files and sending messages.
That's the danger of asynchronous execution. It operates overnight or on weekends when human supervisors are asleep.
That is terrifying.
And because it's executing multi-step workflows, it can cascade errors down a pipeline at lightning speed before anyone even notices. If it makes a subtle hallucination in step 1, it bakes that mistake into steps 2 through 50, compounding the error every step of the way.
And traditional governance completely fails here. The old rule of have a manager read a draft before you click send doesn't work when the output is scaled by 50 times. You physically can't manually review that volume.
You can't, which is why organizations need what the paper calls adaptive governance.
Adaptive governance.
This means moving away from rigid, one-size-fits-all outdated rules and focusing on risk-based frameworks.
So what does a risk-based framework actually look like in a real company? How does that work in practice?
It means differentiated oversight based on the potential for harm. If the agentic AI is doing low-stakes internal work, like pulling data from yesterday's sales and summarizing meeting notes for your team, you use a lightweight, mostly automated review process.
Just let it run.
Let it run. But if it's taking irreversible external actions, like sending binding emails to clients, transferring funds, or committing code to a live production server, you need heavy automated testing paired with strict human review.
The paper mentions JPMorgan Chase deploying this, right?
JPMorgan Chase is a perfect example of tiered governance. They have incredibly strict, multi-layered review requirements for any AI agent touching financial modeling or client-facing applications.
Which you'd hope for a bank.
Exactly. The barriers to launch there are huge. But they maintain much lighter oversight for internal research tools. It allows them to move fast where it's safe and move incredibly carefully where it's dangerous.
And it's not just about setting rules before the AI acts. It's about the ability to hit undo after the fact. The paper talks a lot about audit trails.
Audit trails are critical. Governance for agentic AI must include the ability to roll back mistakes.
Okay.
You need clear, accessible logs showing exactly what the AI did at 3 a.m., what specific data it used to make a decision, and a mechanism to reverse it if it was wrong. It's about auditing the process, not just trying to catch the error before it happens.
There's also the challenge of efficiency. How do you prevent every single department from reinventing the wheel when they want to adopt this tech?
Which brings us to the Unilever case study.
Oh,
To
right.
solve that exact problem, Unilever created an AI Center of Excellence. Its entire purpose is to capture all the messy learnings from the early technical adopters and build reusable governance templates.
That's smart.
Very smart. They figure out the safety protocols and then share those templates across all business units. So when a new marketing team wants to deploy agentic AI, they aren't starting from scratch on compliance and risks.
I don't have to spend 6 months with the legal department.
Exactly. They just inherit the pre-approved safety protocols the Center of Excellence already built.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a massive amount of ground here, going from the basic definitions of asynchronous agents to the deep organizational psychology of how to deploy this tech without breaking the company.
The core takeaway from Dr. Westover's research is that moving to agentic AI is not a simple software update.
Right.
It is a fundamental structural transformation of your company and your daily job. And the data is crystal clear. This takes patience. It takes months, not weeks, to fully integrate this into an organization's operating rhythm.
Yeah.
You have to invest in the hidden technical infrastructure, redesign your workflows around delegation rather than execution, and evolve your governance to handle asynchronous work.
And for you, the listener, thinking about your own career, the mandate is pretty clear. To stay relevant in this new landscape, you cannot just be a task executor, but you also can't just be a generic AI prompter who doesn't understand the work.
Absolutely not.
You need to aggressively cultivate your deep domain expertise. You need to understand your specific field so well that you can be the ultimate verifier and coordinator.
Right.
You have to know the mechanics of the work well enough to spot when the machine is lying to you in step 4 of a 50-step process.
The organizations and the individual professionals who treat this as just the next generation of productivity software will inevitably fall into the bottleneck trap. But those who treat it as a fundamental redesign of how work is accomplished will thrive.
Which leaves us with a final thought to mull over, building on that Deloitte case study we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We established that deep domain expertise is absolutely required to supervise AI safely.
Yeah.
And we know that historically, that deep expertise is gained by doing the grunt work, the reps, the long hours of manual analysis where you learn by making mistakes.
Right.
So what happens in 10 or 20 years? If AI takes over all the beginner foundational tasks today, how will the next generation ever gain the hands-on experience needed to become the experts of tomorrow?
It's a huge question.
Will they be able to supervise the personal chef if they've never chopped an onion or burned a meal themselves? Think about that next time you delegate a task to your AI agent. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.